You're watching Citgo Belmont Week coverage on ESPN2.
It's Belmont Week in New York, and all eyes are on Smarty Jones. His Kentucky Derby win made him famous.
And here's the first undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby since Seattle Slew in 1977. Smarty Jones has done it.
His Preakness victory made him an icon.
He's going to win by a colossal margin. Here is Smarty Jones. He wins the Preakness by a dozen lengths. He remains undefeated.
And now Smarty attracts a crowd wherever he goes. Tomorrow, he'll attract a record crowd to Belmont Park as he bids for the first sweep of the Visa Triple Crown since 1978. But in the meantime, we have leading sophomore fillies in the historic Acorn and stars of the future in the Flash Stakes, plus more on Smarty and those who would deny his quest. All coming right now on ESPN2. Sports fans, Elmont, New York, Belmont Park, a day in advance of the 136th running of the Belmont Stakes, where a record crowd is expected to gather to see if Smarty Jones can pull it off. 8 for 8 so far, the convincing winner in the Preakness, a record winner of 11.5 lengths. He woke up to eat. Other than that, he stands still so much as he did in advance of the Preakness. He'll have 8 rivals tomorrow. We got 2 good races coming up right now, live here on ESPN2. The Flash, that's for 2-year-old boys, a grade 3. The Acorn, that's for 3-year-old girls. That is a grade 1. Good racing all day long here, all day tomorrow, leading to the Belmont and Randy Moss. There's really no news other than a little bit of rains expected. It's nothing like that quagmire, that debacle we saw 5 weeks ago now at Kentucky Derby.
And for Smarty Jones, no news is good news because he's been the dominant 3-year-old, and he's had a good 3 weeks since the Preakness. You know, we've been here a lot. 6 times in the last 8 years we've been here expecting, hoping, anticipating a possible Triple Crown winner. And if you go back just a year ago with Funnyside, a year ago today, we were sitting here talking about how Funnyside was having problems in his training because he was not relaxing. He was being very headstrong, very aggressive, and it was going to be hard for him to ration his speed at 1.5 miles. Not so Smarty Jones. That's one big difference between the 2 horses. Smarty Jones's last workout at Philadelphia Park about a week ago, he was as relaxed as an old hound dog. He almost achieved a zen-like state in that workout early. He was going so slowly. And that's what he's going to need to do. He's going to need to have that personality tomorrow in the Belmont, that ability to last 1.5 miles and ration his speed, because like Funnyside, he also is not really bred to be 1.5 miles.
Same with his jockey. If they run at him, still know that it's a long, it's a lap around, it's 1.5 miles, the biggest track in North America. We've had so many try to get the Triple Crown success, and we've had lots of near misses in the past. Smarty Jones, of course, working at the gate this morning. Brockhart 10's the one that needs extra attention at the gate. Remember, he delayed the whole Preakness 3 weeks
trainer
ago.
John Service along with him. But the 1.5 mile distance has been, I think, the thing that's tripped up horses more often than not. If you see the list there of the near misses since affirmed in '78, you can count them. Spectacular Bid, Sunday Silent, Silver Charm, Real Quiet, Charismatic, War Emblem, and Funnyside all had the lead in the Belmont Park with a 1/2 mile or less to run and just could not last.
The most bitter defeat had to be Real Quiet, 98, by a nose to victory gallop. Well, we got a good horse race for the 2-year-olds of the future. Just 5 of them. Janine thought there might be more who would enter for 100 grand at stake.
That's right, Kenny. Well, the Flash Stakes, of course, is the first graded stakes race of the year for 2-year-olds. And though its distance is quite a bit shorter than the Belmont Stakes, its history is nearly as long, dating all the way back to 1869. Now, past winners include noteworthy champions such as Riva Ridge and Native Dancer, not to mention 2 Triple Crown winners, Assault and Gallant Fox. And of the 5 most recent winners of the Flash Stakes, all of them have gone on to become Grade 1 or Grade 2 winners, further underscoring how this race has given us a nice preview of class. So what future star might be a part of this year's field? Well, we'll take a look at departing now. 9-2, broke his maiden and very impressively at Keeneland in the slop. 00 for trainer Todd Pletcher is one of only 2 in here who have already won at this 5-furlong distance. The other one is number 3, Winning Expression, for trainer Phil Serpy. The 4-5 choice right now is Primal Storm with Shane Sellers in the saddle for trainer Steve Asmussen. When he broke his maiden at Churchill Downs, he was just 1/5 of a second off the track record. And Gold Joy rounds out the field. He broke his maiden recently at Aqueduct. Well, we'll take a look at number 4, Primal Storm, the 4 to 5 choice in here. Steve Asmussen told me this is where you sort out the maiden winners and see where the stakes quality is today in the Flash Stakes. Could we find the next cuvee, he said. That was his cracked 2-year-old of last year. He said Primal Storm is fast, and that's all he needs to be right now. He says that he has all the qualities and all the physical attributes to be a good horse. We'll find out in a few minutes, Kenny.
Primal Storm went down to 3 to 5 just after Janine said it, but now he is back at 4 to 5. The heavy favorite here in the Flash. They're nearing the gate, just a few minutes away from these 2-year-old colts. 5 of them going 5 furlongs. Stay around. Live racing next on ESPN2.
This ESPN2 presentation of Citgo Acorn Stakes is brought to you by Citgo, fueling the greatest of American sports. By Visa, proud sponsor of the Visa Triple Crown. By Michelob Ultra, lose the carbs, not the taste. By Argent Mortgage, ask your mortgage broker about an Argent loan. By Dodge, you can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. And by Long John Silver's new shrimp and seafood salad.
Back here at Belmont Park, they're just about a minute away from the 104th running of the Flash. Grade 3, 2-year-old boys going 5. A trophy will be presented to the winning owner, Randy. And Double O, heavy favorite both times it's run. First time, though, didn't do much. Next time it wins by 3 1/4.
And trainer Todd Pletcher has had extremes in this race. He won it last year with Chapel Royal. He won it in 1999 with a good horse called More Than Ready. And in between, he had a horse that actually fell in this race, a horse called Windsor Lodge. He turned out to be okay. But Double O is co-owned by Jim Scatorcio, who was also the owner of More Than Ready back in '99.
They're getting him a little anxious there is the 2. They're trying to move him forward. The 1 is departing now. The only drug-free horse in this 5-horse field, Randy, and that's partly why I like him. Also got Pat Day this time. Won on the Keeneland slot by 6 and change. This thing looks good.
Drug-free, meaning, of course, he's the only horse in the race that's not on Lasix. Departing now was sent to trainer Becky Maker in Kentucky by the breeders who were intent on selling him. And he won so impressively in his first and only start that Becky Maker called another of her clients, Dogwood Stables' Cott Campbell, and said, hey, there's a horse for sale. You might look at buying, and that's exactly what Dogwood did. This is Departing Now's first race now for Dogwood.
Tom Durkin, just 5 in the race. This should be a splendid call. Not that you don't do great with 15 horses, I mean.
Well, I'll really try not to screw it up, you know. And a little help from the assistant starters, there for Gold Joy. They're in the gate. And they're off. Primal Storm is breaking on top. Primal Storm hustles out of there. Winning Expression is there and down toward the inside. Departing now. Winning Expression went wide going into the turn. Double O is sent on through. Winning Expression is now wide and 4th. 5 lengths back to Gold Joy. Out sprinted in the early going here. And they are all chasing Primal Storm. And Winning Expression to the attack. 3 furlongs from the finish line. Double O is right there, 2 in between horses, and Departing now a long way back to Gold Joy. 4 of them will arrive at the top of the stretch together, but it's still Primal Storm in front as the field turns for home. Primal Storm off the turn with a 2-length lead. Winning Expression on the outside. Departing now 3rd toward the rail. Double O is 4th into the final furlong. And it's a hand ride by Shane Sellers with Primal Storm in a dominating victory. Followed by Winning Expression 2nd, and it is all Primal Storm. He cruised through the stretch here at Belmont today, and he won by 5.5 or 6 lengths. Then it was Winning Expression 2nd, and Gold Joy came on for 3rd. Great effort there by Primal Storm. He wins big in 57 2/5 seconds, but one to keep an eye on in the future here was Gold Joy, way out of it. And as they pull up here, he just ran by the rest of them. So when they stretch out, keep an eye on that one. But for today, it's all Primal Storm.
Primal Storm succeeding at 4 to 5, backing up what the players thought was going to happen here. Shane Sellers got out there when they turned for home, opened up by 3, and really wasn't even touched.
Very impressive performance. Only 29/100ths of a second off the track record at Churchill Downs, going 4.5 furlongs in his debut, and he just left these for dead at the top of the stretch. You saw Sellers just had him wrapped up the last part of it. It's a family affair owned by Keith Asmussen, the father of trainer Steve Asmussen. Keith Asmussen picked him out of that yearling sale. And obviously it is a very good buy. Asmussen's got a lot of good 2-year-olds. He's got another good one called Lunar Pal that we saw in Kentucky that won the 3 Chimneys Juvenile. And Lunar pal, will run next tomorrow in the second graded stakes of the year for 2-year-olds in Kentucky at Churchill.
Primal Storm's your winner. He's 2 for 2. He's won by open lengths both times. We're going to come back, wrap up this race, and move you forward to the 3-year-old girls, plus all sorts of Belmont news when we continue here from Belmont.
This presentation of the National Thoroughbred Racing Association continues on ESPN2.
We're back here at Belmont Park. Hold everything, people. Don't pay off just yet. There's an inquiry. The stewards have launched an inquiry into the running of this race, and that's Shane Sellers, the jockey on the 4, the presumed winner, Primal Storm. As they walk around, they don't want to hand out that trophy to the owner just yet. Here's why, Randy Moss. Here's the break from the gate. And apparently there was some trouble going into the turn.
Well, you'll see Shane Sellers on Primal Storm outrun the rest of the field to his immediate inside. That's Shane in the blue now. You'll see as he drops over to the inside, there is a little bit of crowding behind him involving the 3 Winning Expression and the 2 00. That is not particularly dramatic. You see horses sometimes angle over a lot more sharply than that. And keep in mind also, these are inexperienced 2-year-olds that tend to overreact to situations like that anyway. So I would be surprised, especially given the dominance that Primal Storm displayed in this race, if they change any of the
I'm still not sure that he's the one who caused the mess behind him. I think he was clear, and those others were bumping into each other behind him. Totally separate matter.
It's the Dr. Ted Hill, David Hicks, and Carmine Donofrio are the 3 stewards here at Belmont Park who will be looking at the videotape and will be ascertaining whether they think it warrants a disqualification. I think it's a long shot.
He's back up because he's going to go get a trophy for the winner. Janine, what's your view of this?
Well, I just talked to Edgar Prado, and he told me that Primal Storm was not clear when he crossed over in front of him, and Edgar said that it crowded him into the horse inside of him. So he said, you know, Shane may have thought he was clear, but he wasn't clear when he crossed over. And Primal Storm, of course, was going to win the race anyway. We all saw he was much the best, but Edgar says, hey, it's a graded stakes race, and he feels he was legitimately fouled there.
It's almost as though we need a head-on view of the turn as well. You know, I'm saying, like, we never got the view that we had to have, but you got to look at Edgar Prado there walking off. In a situation like this, the stewards will not only talk to Shane Sellers, but they'll also talk to Edgar Prado and some of the jockeys behind to get their opinions on what happened. But in the end, it'll be the stewards looking at the videotape and determining for themselves whether they thought that there was a foul committed and whether that foul would warrant a DQ. Is this like a provisional winners and closure ceremony? Because they've already taken the picture and he's walking off to suit up.
They don't want to delay things too much
because that film needs to be processed.
Well, the film won't need to be processed.
I meant the picture. So picture. Hand it out to the owner.
And there you see Primal Storm walking off. He thinks he won. Everybody else thinks he'll probably win. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, let's just post it official. Janine has even more. In fact, she has the jockey who's the subject of all this inquiry.
Well, Shane was just telling me his side of the story, and that was.
Well, I mean, you know, I guess there was tight going in there, but I mean, when I went into the turn, I was ahead of him, and I don't know what would have made him want to run into a spot like that, but
here's another look at it for you.
Yeah, well, it's a short run going into that turn, and I'm clear of him here, and it gets a little tight, you know, but again, I don't know why he would want to stay in there when you're not. You got to get in there or get out of there, and. You know, whatever's going to happen. I was on the best horse, and I just hope they don't you know, take action on him. It wasn't his fault.
Now, this horse, when he broke his maiden, was just 1/5 of a second off the track record. How good is he?
He's a very nice colt. I think it's one of his best 2-year-olds, and you know, he did this with with pretty much ease, and it's just you know, again, I hate to see him take him down.
Okay, well, congratulations, Shane. It is official, so you are officially the winner.
It's official. I'll take it. You know, I'd rather him do something to me than take down this colt. It wasn't his fault.
Okay, well, congratulations, Kenny.
All right, Janine, good wrap-up on that. Shane Sellers is the winning jockey. I think the fairest thing would have been to run it again, because my drug-free one-horse departing now really did nothing. Primal Storm, $3.60, which after the fact is good money when a horse wins like that, Randy.
Winning Expression, a nice effort for second, well clear, and it's interesting to follow Gold Joy. As Tom Durkin said, he closed very strongly in the stretch, galloped out well, and finished third.
Hey, not that we're not trying hard right now, but this is more or less an equipment check for the television coming your way on Saturday. Pretty much all day long, beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern today. at the Belmont Stakes. Reese Davis involved, so are many, many others at 3:30 Eastern, the Belmont Stakes Special. It's one large show broken up in half, and then when it's all done, the Triple Crown 2004, right after our good friends at NBC show the 136th running of the Belmont Stakes. We're going to move forward to that Belmont. Smarty Jones. There's Hank Goldberg's money getting the police escort into the building. It's all Smarty. That's the story. The big crowds, the big story is going to try to be the 12th Triple Crown winner in the history of racing. Stay around. Hank Goldberg's coming on. Hey, whenever we go for a blimp ride, it's always on the Spirit of Goodyear. Provides our aerials all weekend long. Look at that thing. It's a huge blimp. It's almost as big as Rock Hard 10, that thing. It's been in the sky nearly 80 years. Now let's talk about the 136th running of the Belmont Stakes. This video parade is powered by Dodge. We will sell the show by the syllable one day. Here we go. Master David. Randy, why is he in the race? Because Bobby Frankel trusted another trainer.
Hall of Fame trainer Alan Jerkins told a jockey agent he thought Master David was going to win the race if Bobby Frankel ran him, so he decided to go ahead and put him in. But he was 12th in the Derby, 3rd in the Peter Pan. He's going to have to improve a lot.
Purge tried to beat him twice down there at Oaklawn, went to the lead, claims they're going to hold him back, does his trainer. I think they're lying.
I don't think they're going to be able to keep him off the lead, going a mile and a half. I think you'll still have Purge in front and Smarty Jones stalking him. This is Purge winning the Peter Pan on May 22nd by almost 7 lengths.
Cayman comes over from Chicago. Maybe should have stayed there.
Yeah, best thing you can say about him is that he's won 2 in a row, but they were both allowance races, and his last race was on the turf, a famous way to prepare horses for the Belmont Stakes going a mile and a half.
We'll find out Saturday. Birdstone, great as a 2-year-old, fell apart as a 3-year-old, but he's got Nick Zito to massage him.
He was 5th in the Lanes End. We were there on the sealed racetrack. Then he caught a sloppy racetrack in the Kentucky Derby and finished 8th, but he was beaten 15 lengths. He really doesn't look like the same horse as a 3-year-old.
Rock Hard 10, he's tall, and he's the one who could take down Smarty Jones.
I think if the only horse in the race that has a chance to beat Smarty Jones is that horse right there. He was second to him in the Preakness, so he was beaten a long way. The best looking horse in the field and training sensationally here at Belmont.
Nick Black Stallion. Royal Assault kind of got his way in for Nick Zito by winning 3 weeks ago.
And he won in the Sir Barton at Pimlico, a mile and a 16th, last to first in the stretch with Pat Day, who will be on him again tomorrow in the Belmont. And he's bred to get the mile and a half. The question is he good enough?
Tap Dancer and Cayman could be coupled.
In the field, right. They're both going to be 70, 80 to 1. Cayman probably 99 to 1. Tap Dancer was 4th in the Sir Barton. He won a small stakes at Calder earlier in his career, but you can't say that much good about him in the spot.
Eddington and Jerry Bailey, he keeps talking. He's going to be good. He's going to be good. He's never made a 100 buyer figure, has he?
No. So far, he hasn't achieved the potential that they had hoped he would at this point in his career, but he is training very well. They're still holding out hope that they found the key to that improvement.
And Smarty Jones, fill in the blanks. He's never won a race by 20 lengths.
He hasn't, but he has won the Derby and the Preakness by a greater combined margin than any horse in history. Even more than Whirlaway, who won the Derby by, I think, 5 and the Preakness by 8, or maybe I have that reversed. So Smarty Jones clearly is trying to race into history tomorrow and has a great shot.
Hank Goldberg has joined the fray here, and Hank, who's having actually a good day for a Friday.
Now watch the blimp, Joe.
You said on ESPN News, we worked earlier on ESPN News, bad betting race, the Belmont. If you don't bet, though, there's something wrong and you're fired. You're betting, right?
I'm not sure. You know what? I have to pick something.
Of course
obviously.
You do.
And I've rarely seen a race that I couldn't find something to bet on.
I'd bet on livestock. I mean,
here's what I'm doing, okay?
Which has been well documented by now.
I think back to '99. Remember when Schulhofer and Mott ran first and second? And there was Mott at 55 to 1 with Vision and Verse. And I'm kicking myself afterwards, thinking to myself, you know, why couldn't I, how could I pass on Mott at 55
Find something.
to 1? And that's how I feel about Frankel. You know, he's going to be 30, 35 to 1 probably in this race with Master David. I don't think he's got a shot in the world, but I'll kick myself if I don't have Bobby Frankel. The only time I can bet him at 35 to 1.
Preventative gambling.
Children's birth dates are good. 529 and 816. Smarty Jones is not going to be 2 to 5. Would you disagree, agree?
I think he'll be 1 to 5. You know, my question is, what's the racetrack going to be like tomorrow? If it's wet, I think it's just him and Purge. You know, he could just do what he did in Arkansas and just catch up with the front-running Purge. And I agree with you, Kenny. I don't think there's any, Randy, I don't think there's any way they hold that horse back. Rock Hard 10 has been the best-looking horse at this racetrack. But, you know, again, he's got to make up, he's got to improve a lot. and you're looking for Smarty Jones to perhaps regress, and he just doesn't. You know, after the Preakness, he wasn't tired the next day, and Jason Orman told me that Rock Hard 10 was exhausted the next day, although he's fine now. And so this horse may truly be, in a complimentary way, a freak.
Well, the horses who have been bet heavily, the first 4 you see there, Secretary, Bold Forbes, Seattle Slew from, they all went on and won this race. Then look at that long list of heavy bet horses who, for one reason or another, couldn't get it done.
Real Quiet should have an asterisk, though. He had a 4-length lead in the 8th pole, as you mentioned earlier, going for the Triple Crown in 1998. And it took the second fastest final quarter mile in 25 years of the Belmont, Victory Gallop, did it, to nail Real Quiet at the wire.
Hank, if you had to lay out a bet, just a Friday bet, would it be the Acorn double for now? Maybe we'll wait for that.
Yeah, they asked me on SportsCenter, what's a better bet? The Lakers, what's a bigger cinch? The Lakers giving 6-1 or Smarty Jones taking 1-5? Well, you never know what's going to happen. You know, remember a couple of years ago when the Baffert favorite went to his knees and War Emblem, and the race was over for him. Turned out he was a one-trick pony. He could only run on the front end. But this horse runs any way you want him to run, on any surface you want him to run. It just doesn't matter to him, and there's no horse like Empire Maker waiting for him in this spot. That's the key.
All right, we're going to wait for Hank's Acorn Belmont double for just another minute, because we're moving up to these 3-year-old fillies. It's the Acorn. It's been around since 1931. 27 champion 3-year-old fillies have come out of this very race, so it has a substantial history, and we move forward today, even though there are a couple of very good ones around the 3-year-old class that aren't involved in that. Now, going back, there was a very good one who did win this. Yeah,
Smarty Jones is named for the owner's mother. There was another very good filly 30 years ago named for someone else, and that would be Chris Evert. In 1974, the owner, Carl Rosen, was friends with the famous tennis player, and the filly turned out to be a champion as well.
3/16 of a mile to the finish, and here comes Chris Everett on the outside. Now third, Fiesta Libre between horses. Coming to the 16th pole, Clear Copy has the lead by a head. Chris Everett on the outside. It's Clear Copy and Chris Everett head-to-head, stride for stride as they come to the wire. Chris Everett gets the lead.
Chris Evert, the horse, won the New York Filly Triple Crown in 1974, the same year that Chris Evert, the tennis player, went into the #1 ranking in the world. And there is a connection to this year as well, because Chris Evert, the horse, happens to be the great-great-grandmother of Eddington, running in the Belmont Stakes tomorrow.
Randy Moss, good story. A reminder for those of you who like to turn on TV shows at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We're here in advance of the 136th running of the Belmont Stakes, but leading you to a very good 3-year-old filly race, Randy Moss. In the Acorn field now, we set it up. A couple of scratches in this. In fact, Hank, I think you liked one of them that I like. Pawnee Princess, the 4, has been withdrawn. The 4 and the 6 are both out. But still, that said, Randy, we got some runners in here.
Yeah, well, and this race is almost noted for the horses that aren't here. At least it was at first, because Madcap Escapade was going to run in this race injured. Ashado skipped it, half bridled, the top 2-year-old filly of last year, out. But now you've got 6 graded stakes winners and the Kentucky Oaks runner-up in the Acorn. Just shows you how deep the 3-year-old quality is this year. Society Selection right now, trained by Alan Jerkins, the 8-5 favorite. Island Sand, that was the runner-up in the Kentucky Oaks that I referenced, is 9-2. And look at all the other good horses. Victory USA for Bob Baffert, 4-1.
All right, Hank, I gave it to you a bit early. You've substantiated the fact that Smarty Jones is in a class by himself, but you still got to find ways to make money at the track. One way to do it is to bet the Acorn Belmont double. If you can find one in here and put it to the winner of the Belmont on Saturday, maybe you make a little more.
I don't know. I like Society Selection, who's the favorite, and I like Island Sand. If you're going to take a horse with Smarty, Island Sand would be at 9-2, I guess, or 5-1 now, my best shot. And those are the 2 horses I like.
All right, Hank's going to play those going forward, playing them in this race. We're going to keep Hank around all week, because we got a long, long day for us tomorrow. Hank, thanks for helping out. You know that NYRA.com is the official website of the Belmont. We're going to race the Acorn, or at least horses will race the Acorn in about 9 minutes. It's going to take a couple minutes to settle down, take a longer look at this field as we go forward and get closer to the time that Smarty runs. But first, the 3-year-old girls. brand new television thing coming your way beginning on June 12th. NTRA Super Saturdays, 5 weekends, 22 live graded stakes from 9 racetracks in the U.S. and Canada, plus fans getting involved with the weekly National Pick 4 wager. Here now a look at the schedule for NTRA Super Saturdays on ESPN and ABC. June 12th, that's a week from tomorrow. It all kicks off Churchill Downs. All sorts of money on the line there in the Stephen Foster. The Belmont Park is involved, Hollywood Park, and Thistledown for the Ohio Derby. Ohio Derby, they call it, right? Is that what you told me?
That's what they call it, Ohio Derby.
Very well. Now let's find out who's running here. Well, we got some good 3-year-old fillies going forward toward the gate. About 6 minutes to post, and here's how they're betting them. Hank, that chalk-eating weasel, likes Society Selection, the 8-5 favorite. He also likes Island Sand being given away right now at 9-2. Bob Baffert has a couple of good ones in here. You can learn more about them right now as we view each and every animal for the 74th running of the Acorn. It's a grade 1. Magical Illusion opened up, lost by 14 and change. Then these savvy Belmont bettors made him a favorite, and he wins by 17.5.
She's going from a maiden race into a graded stakes, but trainer Jimmy Bond said even though he's taking a shot here, she is uncommonly talented.
Society Selection. Oh, nothing but graded races after winning that maiden race by 3.5.
Trained by the 75-year-old legend Alan Jerkins, and this is Society Selection, winning last time also at 8-5 odds in the Comely very impressively.
I've called him the giant killer. Bending Strings. This one, too, shows lots of potential. The buyer's a little slack from some of the others, though.
Beaten by Society Selection, then bounced back here at Belmont to win the Nassau County on May the 8th.
Pawnee Princess is out. Island Sand broke slowly in the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks. Charged up to finish second there behind Ashado.
She'll be off the pace today, but not as far behind as she was in the Oaks. She is a very consistent filly.
Gray Traffic scratch. Bohemian Lady didn't, but maybe should have considered that.
Tons of speed, came up just short in the La Troyenne last time at Churchill, trained by Todd Pletcher. She'll probably stalk Friendly Michelle up on the front end.
Now Baffert has a couple. He's not out here for this, by the way. Victory USA has Jerry Bailey, always in the graded runnings, close every time. Last time it won was a grade 2 by 8, the Beaumont here.
And that was when she defeated Half Bridled. Fourth in the Kentucky Oaks last time. Baffert blamed it on the mud.
La Reina, the 9. Velasquez, the jockey. Seems a cut slow as far as the buyer figures, but has been around graded company all her life.
Beautiful filly, fabulously bred, just hasn't quite lived up to that pedigree yet, although she is a graded stakes winner.
And Baffert's other, Friendly Michelle, on the outside. This one looks ready to charge forward. I mean, just improving each time recently.
She will be on the early lead unless she breaks poorly from the starting gate, and it'll just be a matter of how long she can hold it. She'll rock and roll, as Baffert said this morning.
Janine Edwards, let's get her back involved now.
Well, in case you may have noticed Society Selection looking a little bit antsy, that's pretty much customary behavior for her. Alan Jerkins was telling us yesterday that she's always been a little quirky and a little temperamental, and the place where she displays it the most is usually in the paddock saddling, and she was on her toes and she was giving them a bit of a hard time, but that's nothing to worry about because that's been her right from the start, and she is a perfect 3 for 3 here in New York. And another filly worth noting is number 9, Lorena. Mentioned that she is adding blinkers today on the 9. There she is, trying to get this filly to focus. After her race in the Ashland, where she was 4th, Shug McGahee had said, you know, we just could not figure out what was wrong with her. We even sent her to the equine clinic and did a total body scan, checked her out from head to toe, thinking something might be wrong, but her nerves have always been a problem, and she did display them today in the paddock. She was quite hot and sweaty and getting a little bit rattled there, but maybe the blinkers will help her focus today.
All right, Janine, thanks. Just a few minutes.